All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We're just waiting for the premiere. It's going live here shortly. I'll put my hype in the chat. Hype, hype, hype. Oh. There we go. Put my 2 cents in. There we go. Good to go. We're just waiting for them to go live here any moment. Hopefully it's not too long. And we'll see how things go. Hakuna Matata. I'm looking forward to it, chat. I'm looking forward to it. We're going back to Price, which I believe is the main carrier of the COD franchise. You may be Black Ops, you may be Modern Warfare, up to you whether you're more of a Woods type person or a Captain Price. I've always been more of a Captain Price. I've always found the games to be more reliable, and they're usually above average compared to the other ones. Black Ops, yeah, don't get me wrong. Black Ops 2 and whatnot, there were some good games there. But for the most part, generally speaking, the Modern Warfare games usually have been better. Infinity Ward, yeah, cool, they may have problems, but for the most part, I've enjoyed it. Oh, we got a countdown here, 55 seconds, 55. Going down to 50, let's go. Come on, here we go, chat. Let's see how things go. I'm looking forward to it. And then Modern Warfare will be coming out afterwards. It's going to be another spectacular event there as well.
We got a hit on Hassan.
We can't take him in Iran.
He's not in Iran. Who do we send?
You send Captain Price, of course, the one and only.
All right, lads, well, we're in position.
Bravo team offloads here. Alpha team stays on board to land down range. This is capture or kill.
Ya son más de 10 años metiéndole y todavía sueno como nuevo. Balvin no tiene relevo, me sobra el dinero, el respeto y los huevos. Yo, cada movimiento que hago es luego otro nivel lo elevo. Tú sonaste, te apagaste y no lleva ni la mitad.
We're shifting! Watch the containers!
How the hell did Iran get their hands on this?
It's either Russia or us.
Anywhere I roam.
We need an army.
Well, we can get us an army.
Free to speak my mind anywhere. And I'll redefine anywhere.
Mexican Special Forces, 141, they are your brothers now.
Where I lay my head is home there.
Weapons hard, vaqueros.
Pre-order now and get early access to the open beta.
Yeah. Woo! That might have been a little loud for you. Sorry about that, chat. You guys are just a little behind schedule, I think. Yeah. All right. Looking good. Let's see what Noah J.
Discover rich, intense, 70% dark chocolate.
And then I have a bunch of info on Twitter that we're going to share. Movement mechanics. There's a bunch of new movement mechanics. Okay.
is
so much
not in
info for y'all.
Iran. Who do we send?
I've got so much info for y'all. Okay.
All right, lads, well, we're in position.
Bravo team offloads here. Alpha team stays on board to land down range. This is
Y'all didn't like
capture
the
or
trailer?
kill.
Wait, what do you guys not like about the trailer? I love the music switch up halfway through.
Watch the containers!
How the hell did Iran get their hands on this?
It's either Russia or us.
Anywhere I roam.
Dude, the music switch up is hype. I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. The music switch up is hype.
Mexican Special Forces, 141, they are your brothers now.
Weapons hard, vaqueros.
Pre-order now and get early access to the open beta.
Did we already know the release date for the game? Okay, a bunch of info, chat. All right, Charlie Intel has tweeted out, Modern Warfare 2 will provide players with extensive weapon customization options by delivering a variation of the class, the Call of Duty's classic Gunsmith with new features. Gunsmith is a vital asset. Attachment tuning feature coming in Modern Warfare 2. Most drastic change to Modern Warfare 2's Gunsmith is the ability to tune weapon attachments. So you get like 10 attachments and then you get to change the attachments itself. For example, the standard stock attachment adds movement speed, reduces recoil control. You'll be able to adjust the extent of which the movement speed is increased and recoil control is decreased via weapon attachment tuning. Holy! That's it. Bro, people who make like best gun videos are actually gonna have an absolute field day with that. Oh my, the loadouts are gonna be insane. Only weapons that reach certain levels, which means you'll need proficient with a weapon to access this feature. This isn't an opportunity to make weapons overpowered, as boosting one characteristics drastically will result in corresponding negative. Modern Warfare 2's two default loadouts were designed with 3 plus play styles of eyes. Rusher, Sentinel, and Stalker. So Rusher can't...
YouTube. Where is it? I don't want to watch myself. Duty, Modern Warfare 2. Oh no, that's Chaos. Well, let's see what G-Dot has to say. You played early. A lot of big content trailers, that's how it happens. Let's see what he thinks and what he experienced.
Untwist with Twizzlers.
So I got invited by Activision to check out the Infinity Ward headquarters and check out Modern Warfare 2 a little bit early. We were able to talk about different mechanical changes that have happened, a few different campaign missions, multiplayer changes that inevitably will make it into Warzone 2.0, whatever you want to call it. And then I also got a little bit of hands-on testing, which is, it was pre-early alpha or whatever you want to call it. So there's going to be a lot of changes between the versions that we see in terms of trailers and content and the actual beta drops later in a few months from now. I'm not sure exact date yet because I don't think that's been announced, but obviously we have a launch date of October 28th. So I will say that I have obviously been invited in the past, and I'm still pretty vocal and open about my opinion because I'm honest. Obviously, I'm passionate about Call of Duty. I enjoy Call of Duty. So there's probably a lot of you out there that can relate to it, and there's stuff that annoys you about the game, but you still play it because it's Call of Duty and you enjoy Call of Duty at the root of it. And that happens all the time. If you go back to my Modern Warfare review, when I played it early and had access early, not quite as early as this, I was pretty harsh on that, and I still got invited back. So I have no problem being honest about things I like and dislike about the game, because if I can't expect to be honest, then basically you shouldn't be inviting me, right? Obviously, if you were really into the lore, this is a sequel to the Modern Warfare 2019 and has really nothing to do with the original ones of the gameplay you see in the background. from like 10 years ago, which are considered or highly regarded as some of the best Call of Duties ever, including Modern Warfare 3. And I'm not a big lore guy. There's other guys out there like Ink Slasher will cover all the nuances of the characters. I don't care. I play a first-person shooter to shoot the weapons and see how the gameplay feels, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. Something they wanted to focus on is water. Normally how it works, at least on Warzone, most of the bodies of water, if you touch them, you die because they're primarily out of bounds. Same thing with Rebirth Island. And then they do have these little ponds that really don't interact in any meaningful way. These ones will allow for full submersion, and they want to make sure they did it right, which means it'll have a functionality where obviously it's going to look good. Infinity Ward usually has a good way of making their games look very pretty, and sometimes to a fault, I would say. But overall, they make the game look, they want to make that water look as real as possible, so that when you're underwater, it's going to feel like as you deeper you go, the murkier it gets. They have the little reflections. You're only allowed to use a pistol or a knife underwater currently. We were able to see, you know, if they had an LMG or something like that, you just had to swap to the pistol. It wasn't fireable until you go to the top of the water. Then you'll be able to pull out those primary weapons. And I think that's a way to balance it. But on top of that, if you are underwater and you're doing a gunfight underwater with pistols, the bullets will actually have a little bit slower projectiles because they're passing through water, and they'll deal less damage. So they kind of went to a little bit bigger lengths so that I think there's a risk reward associated with water, because if you happen to have somebody jump in, if you're running overkill, you're running 2 primary weapons, you're not going to be able to fire your weapons, so you're going to be at a huge disadvantage. So there is a little bit of risk reward, especially if we're thinking long term. Eventually when Warzone happens, there's probably going to be a decent amount of bodies of water that will be in the end zone, and you'll have to be able to go, okay, this end zone's landing water or ending water, maybe we go ahead and choose a pistol loadout, or however those mechanics are going to work. One thing they did talk about that was incredibly important, or at least important to I think a lot of players, is the overall gunsmith. You're going to have a similar creative class that we had in Modern Warfare. We're able to essentially pick 5 attachments. We're not really able to go into the nuances of the create a class, because in the version we played, we didn't even get to create a class. We use default loadouts. So I'm not really going to be able to talk much on that. But one of the cool things they talked about, and I think this is going to help out a lot of casual players and players to help diversify the weapons. A lot of times what we have right now in Warzone is that you have weapons like the MP40 being highly used just because it was leveled, not because it's the best, because there's clearly better options for close range. Just people don't want to go out of their way to level the weapons. They were going to have structured of like weapon trees. So for example, you start with an M4 and then it maybe splits off to a Growl. This is just hypothetical, and it goes to a Ram and then to an Odin, whatever. And as you progress through this, you're going to be able to unlock specific challenges and attachments for the individual weapons. And basically my understanding of it is hopefully it works as good as I think it will. But essentially, let's say you have the M4A1, and we know the meta build for Warzone is essentially a monolithic suppressor, Corvus Custom or the M16 barrel, whichever, you know, the Grenadier, and then you use the Commando foregrip, 60 round mag, and a VLK optic, something along those lines. But let's say for all rifles, if you unlock the challenge to do the monolithic suppressor, maybe 10 kills with a suppressor, whatever, and then you would unlock this attachment, and it would be a perma unlock for rifles within that basically weapon tree. So that when you do that, you got the monolithic basically perma unlocked, and then you got a Commando foregrip perma unlocked, so that when you unlock the Ram, you already have 2 out of the 3 meta attachments or 4 meta attachments. So that is kind of a cool idea. Basically a level 1 gun can have equipable attachments based off of this, but I'm not sure exactly. They didn't go into a deep dive on which attachments would be unlocked through challenges that would essentially be perma unlocked for that weapon category or weapon tree. Because they fit within that particular model. SMGs would probably fit into their own, and that's kind of how that works. So overall, I really like that. They've also added another nuance to the creative class where certain attachments will actually have sliders on them. So you'll be able to pick an attachment that you want for aim down sight speed, let's say, or suppression and recoil control or something like that. And then you'll have these sliders that'll actually be able to adjust things like recoil versus aiming speed or ADS speed. So for example, if you were building it more for long range, you'd probably push the slider all the way towards recoil control. If you want to aim down sight speed, or maybe the gun just does not have any recoils, you can go full aim down sight speed, or for an SMG build, you can go that route. And then the other slider is aim walking speed, which would be the strafe speed, along with aiming stability. So your recoil pattern could get a little bit wonkier, but you can strafe faster or vice versa. So it allows you to take one attachment, now that you've got it perma unlocked, apparently, right? And now you're equipping it, and then you can actually use a slider to make this weapon fit your needs until you unlock the right attachment or the meta attachment, and it will allow you to diversify your builds. Overall, hopefully this is how it works and not some kind of pay to win concept. I'm not trying to give them any ideas, but maybe if you bought a blueprint with those specific ones, you can unlock it for all the weapons, and that could be an interesting take on it where you have that cosmetic, but now it works on all these different weapons and not just the one blueprint for the one attachment for the one gun. That doesn't really make much sense. I think it's kind of lame in that sense. So that's the basis of the Gunsmith. I'm sure we'll get more details about this sooner rather than later. One other nice little ad that they did was the stat bars. Now they have a little bit of a number next to them, not quite as complex as Vanguard or Cold War, but they'll have a number, so you kind of have an idea of how much that bar is actually moving, and it's a percent scale. If the bar was completely empty, it would be a 0. All the way full would be 100, but for most weapons, they sit between 70 to 80, so you can kind of see what the attachments are doing and how much they're doing, so you don't have any confusion when you see attack laser improves your aim down sight and a stippled grip, and which one is going to help more. You'll know that right off the bat intuitively just by seeing the numbers without all this details that are also important, but a little bit simplified. For whatever reason, basically they kind of breezed over it, but it was more one of these things that their AI is supposed to.
The Guaranteed MasterCard from Capital One gets you a $300 to $7,000 credit limit and is
to be really good. They've modeled real life tendencies of players and real life operators, how they move and clear buildings, so that AI can work that way, whether it's in multiplayer. There might be some modes that have AI. They weren't really descriptive. I would imagine that's a part of Warzone or that leaked mode that a lot of people have been talking about, DMZ, which I don't really know much about other than it's been leaked, right? And then obviously the campaign, they'll have realistic AI, how they work together, move together. And I would imagine it would depend on the difficulty you choose so that you can actually have that level of immersion if you want to be like, damn, those guys are actually working together. They're giving call outs to each other. So they've worked on that. And that's something you need to see, to believe type of thing. Can't really explain too much on that. COD 2.0 on October 28th. We're going to get one unified COD engine. So this is going to be one engine that's going to be used pretty much for everything. And I think that they're already sharing everything with Treyarch or Sledgehammer, how they're going to be able to develop the future games, whether that's in 2 years or whenever. Also going to be available on Steam, which was already kind of announced a couple days ago. Warzone Mobile will be available as well on mobile. And that's the old Verdansk map. We'll see kind of how that actually plays out. I don't know if it'll actually be anything worth playing, but mobile is a huge market. Ricochet will be integrated on day one with all the learning so far. Obviously, there are cheaters that will always exist in online gaming, particularly PC gaming, because people can generate hacks, inject them. But in the long run, they've been less and less over time. I feel like you rarely run into them. Even though they do definitely exist. It kind of just depends. There's some days better than others and some days worse than others when it comes to that. So when it came to the overall design philosophy of Modern Warfare 2, they said they wanted to support existing players with multiple behaviors. And they kind of broke those down into 3 different categories. You have the rushers, which typically are those players that run around with like a chicken with their head cut off. They'll flip spawns. It doesn't matter. They're just full sending, trying to get kills, and doesn't always play the smartest way. They had this other one that was referred to as Sentinels, which I would consider that defensive or campy, where they lock down a building, usually more of a campy play style. And then there's Stalker, which is more the methodical, tempoed play style. And they kind of want to try to add things that would only help, that would help each of these individual categories, and that each one was being represented, because obviously Call of Duty's been around for a while. Some people camp, and that is their play style. People hate campers, and that is what it is. People rush, and that is a play style. You know, I mean, all play styles are valid for those individual players. You don't have to like them all, but you do realize they do exist, and they've tried to build that in that. So when you spawn in, you're going to have default loadouts like for Warzone or for multiplayer. You normally would get 5. They're going to have 6, 2 for each category, and hopefully they change them over time to adopt what those players are actually using, so that somebody just getting started, they'll have a close to meta weapon right off the bat, and they're not at a huge disadvantage, even though that weapon tree will exist. There also is a dive added into the game, and pretty much how this would work is obviously we have a slide canceling, you got attack sprint, you got slide, which before within Modern Warfare and Warzone, you had either tap to slide or as a setting or hold to slide, and they've essentially made it so everyone is now tap to slide, and then hold would be a dolphin dive. So you're going to actually get both mechanics when it comes to being able to do attack sprint, slide cancel, and then dolphin dive. In terms of feel, you're going to have to feel that for yourself. I would say that it is a little bit different, and we'll kind of see whether or not how the community likes it, because sometimes people are opposed to change, even though attack sprinting, when it was added to Modern Warfare 2019, didn't exist. People thought it was clunky, but then they grew to love it. So we'll see how the dolphin dive makes its way into plays, whether or not you'll be able to jump through windows and things like that. I'm sure we'll figure out where it's useful and not. They also allow for a ledge hang. There's a lot of times where you barely miss an edge of something, and I think this is going to be more practical in the modes like Ground War, which is making a return, and then Warzone 2 whenever it comes out. You'll be able to glide. If you barely miss, you'll be able to actually grab the ledge, pull yourself up. I think there's a pistol mechanic along with that as well. So there's a ton of stuff there, and they're also going to, in certain scenarios, they're going to allow for platforming. I didn't really see any platforming, so I don't know if there's a particular campaign mission where you'll be able to be like Assassin's Creed style and jump up and climb the building. In terms of the most interesting thing to me was the dynamic vehicle gameplay. There's actually now added mechanics where if you're driving a vehicle, you can actually aim down sight from the driver's seat. You'll peek out, and you can actually do a full 360 all the way around you, and you could fire the weapon. Obviously, you're not driving the vehicle at that point, so it's going to be coasting, but you'll be able to use that. You'll be able to sort of jump on the roof of the vehicle. You're going to be able to get the doors blown off. You're going to be able to shoot the tires out, and it'll impact the way the driving mechanics work. There's also a helicopter troop carrier, which you'll be able to fly around, and people can actually stand out the back or the sides. You're not fixed to a seat the same way the current helicopter is. There's amphibious vehicles because they're obviously water, and one thing they said they wanted to change was to make it obviously a little bit more realistic. They're going for a lot of realistic things, sometimes, like I said, to a fault. And now when a vehicle blows up, the overall frame will be left behind. Helicopter crash will be left behind. If it hits the water, it'll slowly sink, and that's kind of what it does. And this isn't currently how it is. We get an explosion, and then basically it's like it vaporized currently within Warzone. This should adjust for that. They've added tons of new field upgrades. There was several field upgrades. Pretty much everything else is making a return that we've already seen, and then they're adding a few more. One of the most interesting was the cameras. Similar to the Rainbow Six Siege, if you've ever played that, you got the camera. You could bounce between them. It is a field upgrade, so it is set for a finite time. If you and your teammates put up multiple, you and your teammates will be able to look at those cameras that are shared between you, so you could actually get those multiple vantage points only while alive. So if you have a teammate spectating, they won't be able to look at that for you. And they also give a little bit of alert when they've been spotted, so that the people will know, and they make a little bit of a noise. We didn't actually get to see it in action, but we'll see kind of how good this is, or kind of like not good. There's also a drill charge, which is kind of like an R6-2, Rainbow Six, where you put it on the wall and then it sends the explosives through. This one's a single grenade. You can put it on the side of a wall. It'll blow through the wall. At least it'll send a nade through it. So if somebody's camping a room, just hook it up, and they're going to have to vacate that room. This is also a great vehicle deterrent, so that works as well. People got to jump out of that vehicle. There's a DDoS attack, which is kind of an EMP device. It shut down claymores, prox mines, those types of things. It'll shut down a vehicle. So if you're chasing down a vehicle, you can EMP it. It'll shut it down. But again, that is a field upgrade. There's also something that's an inflatable decoy. This one's something like where you place it on the ground, and then it pops up, and it'll be in a fighting stance And it'll look very realistic. If you put it behind a desk, it'll kind of crouch. Put it in a vehicle, it'll look like it's trying to sit in there type thing. If you put it in the water, it'll do like a looks like it's swimming pose. So it's kind of built in there. Obviously, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but they are going to have battle maps. And battle maps are essentially ground war style. And just like ground war was, very similar to some of the battlefield mechanics we've seen with a lot of vehicles on the map and stuff like that. But one of the best parts that they mentioned with this, and I would be jumping into Ground War Day 1 if you're really interested in seeing the new Warzone map, because one thing that they said was that they were able to utilize their Ground War data to better make Verdansk. Obviously, all the Verdansk POIs, half of them were Ground War maps. Whether we're talking about Quarry or whatever the case is, they were able to play test those essentially with 30 players versus 30 players. Find out where the power positions are, the sight lines, and how the things were, so that when it came time to actually have it playable in Verdansk, they knew where to place the chest, where to close off a window, in those types of things, so they could essentially play test it. So I would imagine, and it sounded like they planned to do the same thing. So it is highly likely that if you jump into Ground War or Battle Maps Day 1, you're probably going to get a glimpse at the new Warzone map a little bit early. So that'll be pretty cool for them to stress test that. Core multiplayer is traditional 6v6, but they'll also have pacing. There's new modes that are you know, I guess sure you'll experience when it comes time to it. But that's kind of where that is. Obviously, I got to get a little bit of hands-on. I feel like they've listened to feedback. I can't really talk much on it. I'm sure we'll have a time in the near future where we'll be able to discuss some of the finer details, and we'll get something closer to an alpha or a pre-beta or whatever you want to call it, where things are a little bit more set in stone. I think some of the settings were still a little fluid, so it's like, well, we're going to change that, and that's already in the next patch. So can't really talk too much on that, but overall, I think they've made a lot of conscious in the right direction. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching as always. Have a great day.
Insider information from the early testing that not really early testing, but the invites that you guys were able to do. Not bad. Not bad at all. Anyone else have invites? It says Courage was live. Is Noah still alive? Noah?
Kind of like a teaser trailer. They don't call it a teaser trailer. Modern Warfare 2 will also have an incredible post-release calendar set with a massive amount of free post-launch content drops featuring new maps, new modes, blockbuster special events that can't be missed. With water and swimming in Modern Warfare 2, you only can use pistols and melees underwater. So
I think he's rewatching it.
Basically this is kind of like the original teaser trailer. That's like it's like what, a minute and a half long teaser trailer. The next thing that's gonna come out is gonna be the story trailer, and that's gonna be more like, you know, about the setting, what's happening in the campaign and everything like that. After that is going to be the multiplayer trailer, and then there's going to be the world reveal trailer. This one is, I think, like a pretty darn good trailer. I just wish they showed more like gameplay shots rather than just cinematics, but the story trailer will definitely have that. If not, the multiplayer trailer will have the most of it. So
yeah, like that's just one trailer. Everyone keeps forgetting. Like,
so is the ACR back? Did someone see? Wait, was this the USP?
It's not the gameplay trailer. It's sort of
the USP pistol right here.
So there's that. Let's see. Is anyone else? You would expect Dr. Disrespect would have had something, but nope. Oh, right. He wasn't invited. Right. Who's Immortal? Was he invited? All right. Let's see what Immortal has to say. Invited early.
I'm so excited to share it with you guys today. I have a very environments and engagements for everyone as well, whether you're a top tier player, whether you're a casual player, whether you might not be that good, maybe you're newer to Call of Duty and you're still getting the hang of things. There's going to be something for everyone in this game, and this is what I love the most about what they said in this little description of their game. this is the best that they've ever done.
Warzone's
Infinity
gonna
Ward,
come out after
obviously, they're going to be high on their own games all the time. They were super high on MW 2019. To say they've now one-upped that game and created something even better, I'm very excited for it. And based off what we saw earlier on this week, and based off what we're talking about in this video, I'm kind of on board with it. It does look like it's going to be the best COD game yet in terms of what it presents. Obviously, everyone's going to have their opinions. You might not like this aspect, you might love this aspect, but as far as what it presents, it looks incredible. So this game is not just an upgrade of MW 2019. It's not MW 2019 2.0. The gun systems, the audio systems, animations, the world environments, everything has been refined, been upgraded, been improved, and you could see that. We saw pre-alpha versions of the game. And it looked incredible. It looked like it's something that could drop tomorrow if it needed to, right? And it'd still be, you know, competitive in the current gaming market and industry. It definitely looks upgraded in basically every facet, right? The game's story base is obviously a sequel to MW 2019 that ended off with, you know, Price and Laswell talking about the creation of Task Force 141. This game picks up 3 years later. Task Force 141 has been operating all over the world in that time. They've got old allies, new enemies. That was one of the taglines for the game. Primarily, it's based around Price, Gaz, Soap, Ghost, Laswell, Alejandro Vargas, who is one of the new characters that we saw revealed earlier on this month with like the initial big reveals. Then also Philip Graves, who is like the head of Shadow Company from what they described. So Shadow Company is in fact back. Another thing the devs sort of reiterated is that the mission for the game has not changed. Back in MW 2019, Price had a line, "We get dirty so the world stays clean." The mission still stands in this campaign, so it's going to be that same sort of feel as before when it comes to how things play out. And I, for one, I love the MW 2019 campaign. In my opinion, it's the best that we've ever had. MW 2 is a close second, but this, I'm so excited to see if it can, in fact, one-up the MW 2019 story. But yeah, same mission. They get dirty, so...
My name is Rav. I'm the owner at Shade of Minty, a small-scale organic farm.
Discover rich, intense, 70% dark chocolate, masterfully.
And yeah, outside of that, I'm gonna go. Love you guys. Oh my god. It was gonna be campaign. If you came into this expecting multiplayer, you were gonna be L.
There you go.
We knew it was gonna be campaign.
A lot of people were upset. This was campaign. I don't need his chat.
Is that it? Someone said ACR. Is that an ACR? I couldn't tell. Is this an ACR? I don't get ACR vibes from this, but maybe I'm crazy. Oh man, actually maybe. For Weapon Vault? When's the open beta access?
Yeah, they didn't tell us that.
Cross-gen bundle download. Red Team 141 Operator Pack. FJX Cinder. First ever Weapon Vault. Look at all the attachments here. What is this? No, you're trying to get us hyped. Shill. L. Yeah, I'm definitely getting paid for this stream today, jackass, for sure. Where's my Steam? I feel like I'm buying this on Steam, dude.
Can be,
I don't know.
Like,
I feel like I'm going to buy this on Steam.
People online, it's
Base edition is now $70. They need to have... $2 minutes, and it's going to leave a worldwide forward to it. Come on! Guys, it's not live yet. I'm gonna full screen the video and I'm not hiding my camera. If you want to go watch just the video, go to their channel. This is my reaction. Y'all are watching me react. Don't worry, the premiere will begin shortly. Just wait. Just wait. We will not miss anything here. Don't worry.
It's not an exclusive.
Late Keck W. There we go. Look. Get a set.
Go to their actual channel. You don't have to do it yourself. Just like these guys.
Yeah. Oh snap. Okay.
We got a hit on Hassan.
Okay, we are starting with campaign. That's what I expected. We're starting with campaign.
Not in Iran. Who do we send?
Squad goals. I kind of look like him. Did we already see the ACR?
All right, lads, well, we're in position.
Bravo team offloads here. Alpha team stays on board to land down range. This is capture or kill.
Ya son más de 10 años metiéndole y todavía sueno como nuevo.
Damn!
No tiene relevo, me sobra el dinero, el respeto y los huevos. Yo, cada movimiento que hago, el juego otro nivel lo elevo. Tú sonaste, te pagaste y no lleva ni la mitad.
We're shifting! Watch the containers!
What was that? Wet work? Or what's is that wet work? The name of the ship map? I can't remember.
It's either Russia or us.
It's either Russia or us. We're facing Russia.
We need an army. Well, get us an army.
Damn, yo, that reminds me of All Gillied Up. That reminds me of All Gillied Up, except like modernized.
Mexican Special Forces, 141, they are your brothers now.
Damn.
Weapons hard, vaqueros.
October 28th.
Pre-order now and get early access to the open beta.
When's the open beta?
Access to open beta, which will probably drop early October if I had to make assumptions and guesses. So yeah, there it is. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Yeah, that was Call of Duty. Let's see. Yeah, that was Call of Duty. Not bad. Not bad. I didn't mind it. It was the campaign. It looks sort of remastered a lot of what was there before. So we'll see. This is the little pre-thing introducing us to get to this. And I presume there's going to be a multiplayer coming campaign and maybe the specialty mode as well later on once we get a little closer. But yeah, looking pretty good. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to end the stream there. Don't forget, hit me up on YouTube. I'm also on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram. And I'm looking forward to this game at the end of the year.